Christopher Nolan's Interstellar is a masterful exploration of concept and character, but this deep space adventure ends a little shallower than you might have expected. Now, the film is incredibly ambitious, with spectacular visuals, as you would expect from the director, but is Interstellar fitting of the Christopher Nolan standard? Here's Movie Cricket's review for you to find out.
We're not meant to save the world. We're meant to leave it.
Hey guys, this is Billy from MovieCricket.com, and today we are talking Interstellar, directed by Christopher Nolan. Interstellar pictures a global food crisis where the world has become a coast-to-coast dust bowl of unproductive farmland with little chance of sustainability. Matthew McConaughey stars as Cooper, an ex-retired NASA pilot who is charged with the modest job of leading an exodus off-world for the human race to go and find a habitable planet through a wormhole. Now, Matthew McConaughey is fantastically emotive in this film, but I feel that Interstellar struggles to keep up with the passion and the rage that Matthew McConaughey seems to be brewing inside of him. There's a particular moment when Cooper's children go to school, only to be taught that the Apollo moon missions were a hoax. Now, this is a wonderful opportunity for a monologue, for a chance for Cooper to explain why the human race needs this spacebound ambition, why we should be pursuing space programs and looking to more scientific means of curing each other. So, the film doesn't really offer an alternative because there's no real dialogue to drive that idea forward. And that's what kind of concerns me sometimes about Interstellar.
No late, Coop.
Yeah, we had a flag.
It's an Indian surveillance drone. Solar cells power an entire farm.
What'd you do, Murph?
She didn't do nothing.
Murphy's Law. You're a well-educated man, Coop. And a trained pilot.
And an engineer.
Anyway, Matthew McConaughey nobly jets off into space with Anne Hathaway and his NASA crew to save the world by finding an habitable planet and lead a human exodus from the dying Earth. During the mission, Cooper realizes a mathematically sound plan to use the wormhole for their advantage. In Interstellar, the idea of a wormhole is less magic, wizards and phoenixes, but more of the stuff of solid scientific grounding. When Cooper hatches this plan, pens it on a notepad and shows it to Amelia, who is Anne Hathaway, for her to quickly reply, "Yeah, that'll work," you can only laugh at the lack of explanation. Perhaps there's beauty in not knowing, or perhaps we're not meant to understand, but the film does skip over the details in places. So, without revealing any further plot, Interstellar bridges huge, mind-bending narratives and scenes of wonder, grandeur and space-like awe, whilst locating within the essence of the human experience and the limitations of emotional understanding and empathy. The film is huge. The scale and scope of the story and the visuals is bigger than anything Christopher Nolan has brought us before, and that includes Inception and the Dark Knight trilogy. But the film masterfully still manages to translate the intimate struggles of humanity, commentary on the lack of ambition and explorative wonder of the human race, the dull fall of the need of answers as everything slips into everyday life where people are just aimlessly surviving, is very cutting and impactful. A science fiction tale that locates within a strong social realism that other genres struggle to translate. The costume design resonates with nostalgia and patriotic belief that is dead elsewhere in the film. The famous white spacesuits of the NASA astronauts are like a final stance for the exploration of the frontier. The signification that comes with these suits, the wonder, the need for answers, and the beauty of exploration is felt very strongly. Now, okay. Christopher Nolan, as expected, does deliver some incredible visuals with universe manipulating scenes of like we saw in Inception. Interstellar boasts bigger and better scale on all fronts, with the sea turning up to 90 degrees at one point under the gravitational pull of a foreign moon. This looks amazing and it's such a strong scene. The film feels dreamlike and huge and familiar, like a Nolan experience. but something is lost in the scale. Now, Interstellar is not without its flaws, and whilst I won't be discussing spoilers here, I would like to talk about certain criticisms. Now, the film does fall victim to comparisons to other sci-fi films and other Christopher Nolan films, but it should be judged subjectively. So, the strengths of Interstellar: fantastic visuals, amazing craft from Christopher Nolan. But then you consider some of the negatives. The plot is thin at times, and it is incredibly ambitious, and the rest of the film kind of struggles to keep up with said ambition. Now, this isn't necessarily a bad thing. Interstellar is by no means a bad film. It's still a sensational watch. I massively enjoyed it. As a critic, I'm trying to be subjective, but I am a massive Christopher Nolan fan, and I might find positives where there are negatives. The problem I've seen with certain critics is people seem to be not liking this film because they don't want to like it. They want to find a Christopher Nolan film with weaknesses. The plot is arguably a little bit dumb in places, and it skips over details which would give it more context and more scientific grounding. The strength of Christopher Nolan's Batman films was the point that everything was explained through science. I use the term loosely, but in a superhero comic book film, the Batman movies explained everything: why he got his suit, how he managed to train to be the Batman. It was all there. The film kind of has to grasp at scientific means, and it does its very best to explain what it can, and it's difficult to suspend your belief enough to understand everything that Interstellar is preaching.
Everybody ready to say goodbye to our solar system?
And now we come to the final verdict. Surreal, ambitious and classic Christopher Nolan. A masterpiece in character and concept, but perhaps falls victim to a huge scale and scope in the final third, when the conclusion seems slightly more shallow than you might expect from a Christopher Nolan movie. The visuals are stunning, beyond the likes of which we have seen in a long time. The localised social realist story, working within the huge space-bound stakes, is impressive, and the score from Hans Zimmer is tear-provoking at times. Declaring this film as anything but a wonder of filmmaking is to do it a disservice, but this film does come with a few just criticisms.
Make it count.
Where's the mountains?
Those aren't mountains. They're waves.
With all that being said, Interstellar is a solid 8 out of 10. It is definitely worth checking out. For the Christopher Nolan fans of you out there, this film obviously offers everything you guys are looking for, and you will love it. Sci-fi fans out there might be a little bit disappointed with any real conviction to the plot after the trajectory of the early film looks so promising. That being said, the visuals are spectacular. Cinematic experiences do not come much better than Interstellar. If you want to put a little bit of extra money in to watch it in IMAX, I'd recommend that, but it's not essential, that's not too important. What is important though is that you guys go for a cheeky toilet break before you go in there, because this film is a pretty big 2 hours and 42 minutes. So definitely bear that in mind when you're grabbing your nachos before the film. So, with all that being said, cheers for stopping by guys, and I will see you on the next Movie Cricket review. See you soon, bye bye.